Welcome to Your Life Podcast, the place where life becomes that little bit simpler. Thank you for joining me on the Your Life Podcast. I'm Angela Lockwood, and in this episode, I'm interviewed by Luke and Susie of The Luke and Susie Show. Now, this topic that we discussed today around taking control of device addiction is something that's really close to my heart. Through the work I do with children, as well as seeing my own children on devices, I am seeing a significant increase in the amount of time, not only that children are on devices, but definitely how much they want to be on devices. But we can't just finger point at children. Adults are also seeing time be wasted by sitting on their devices. A quick 5-minute check of an email can end up in an hour of searching the internet and wasting time for things that we didn't even intend to search for. Now, it's not all bad. And in this episode, I talk about how you can take control if you're feeling like you're getting a little bit addicted to all those devices. It's not all bad news, and with some simple strategies, you can quickly take control. Enjoy.
Luke and Susie with Faith, Family Culture, and it's time to get a little bit of therapy for you, Suze,
Yes.
because you've had a little bit of a realisation. We talk about a lot of things that help us navigate life. One of these things that we've been talking about a lot is switching off from the business of the world, and our next guest is literally the author of that book, Switch Off. Angela Lockwood is our guest. But, Suze, you've realised that maybe there's a new level of therapy because you've got an addiction.
I do. I've realised, Angela Lockwood joining us on the phone, that I have an addiction to my phone, in that I constantly have it on me, and I am finding it really hard to prioritise things that actually are a priority. And every night I'm going to bed saying, this has stolen so much time from me, and I hate my phone, and yet I can't seem to put it down, which to me says this is an addiction.
Hi guys, look, it's a really important topic because addiction is an important topic generally, and we used to always think about addiction being more around substances, so substance addiction with drugs and alcohol. But what we're finding is that people are getting addicted to things other than that, but it still gives them that same rush. And technology is becoming one of those things. We've got gamers who spend pretty much most of their day online playing games in some fantasy world with people around the world. And what they're doing is they're stepping away from the reality of their day. So they're not actually being involved in their life here and now. And that's when it becomes, things flick into an addiction, where your hobby or your, like for you, Susie, being online on your phone, it actually starts to interrupt those normal things that you're meant to be doing in life. And that's when it can become a little bit problematic.
And is this like sort of then in that same category as, say, the workaholic or anybody who's going to a certain behaviour to remove themselves from, in a sense, what else they have to face and do in the standard day of life?
Yeah, well, the great thing is for you, Susie, is that you know that it's a problem. The challenge is now, what do I do about it? And a lot of people will get to the point where they'll go, whoa, hang on a minute, I've been on my phone for the last 3 hours just scrolling on. Actually, I'm not really sure what I've been looking at. They jump from thing to thing, and then 3 hours have passed and they're like, oh my gosh, now I've got to try to make those 3 hours up somewhere. But the good thing is that you've acknowledged it. The hardest part now is this next bit. Is you've acknowledged it, now what do I do about it? And there are some really simple ways that you can start to dial back on your addiction without going cold turkey. Now, for other addictions, such as alcohol and drug addictions, there's a huge process. And actually there are, can you believe it, addiction therapists now for people who have internet addictions.
I absolutely can believe that, yeah.
I would imagine for you, Susie, it may not have gotten to that point quite yet.
I hope not. All right, well, we're talking to Angela Lockwood about overcoming that addiction to device when you've recognised that it is stealing too much of your time. She suggested that there are some simple things that we can do. We're going to catch those next here with Luke and Susie. Faith, Family Culture, it's Luke and Susie with you, and I'm getting some therapy today. Angela Lockwood's our guest, the author of the book Switch Off. As I boldly acknowledge at the beginning of the year this addiction that I realise I have to my phone. It's in my hand almost all the time.
And this is, so the things you're doing on it is not just phone calls and emails.
No.
It's Facebook and video feeds and news feeds and TV shows. And like the advantage of the phones these days, they do everything. The disadvantage of the phones these days is they do everything.
Yes.
And you are spending more time than you think you're comfortable with.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But you've said, Angela, that there's some simple things we can do in this. Once we've acknowledged it's a problem, simple things to do to overcome it. So let's run through what those are.
I'm going to give you five of them, and the first one you've already done, and that is acknowledging it, saying, oh, hang on a minute, this is not getting comfortable for me anymore. I'm not liking the amount of time that I'm spending on my phone or on the internet. So you've already done one. So give yourself a pat on the back, Susie.
Yes.
The second one, I reckon the guy alongside you could help you with, and that's actually about getting support. So you've acknowledged it, is getting a team of people with you or around you, or it could even just be your one. Luke, I'm looking at you, is to have someone who can support you with this. So when he's online, or when you've got somebody who's a supporter, they're sitting next to you on their phone while you're on their phone, sometimes your support crew has to go, hang on a minute, let's just turn these off and let's go and do something else. Why don't we, go for a walk together, or let's go and have brekkie or have a cup of tea outside and leave our phones inside. It's that support crew that can really help make this a success for people. It's when you have enablers around you that it makes it really hard. So people who are also either addicted to their phones or they're addicted to technology, that's when it makes it really hard. The third one is really, you've got two choices here. You can either go completely cold turkey, which has its own side effects. And what I mean by that is just go, no more phone, that's it. But we know the reality of that is so hard. As you said, Luke, we've got so much online now. It's a good thing and a bad thing. So what I suggest, Susie, is to really just look at those things that you're doing that you can scale back on. So not go cold turkey, just go, what's one app that I could just completely get off my phone? Have you got one there, Susie, that you can go, actually, I don't really get any value out of this from a brain point of view or a life point of view? What's one you could take straight off your phone now?
Bubble bots.
I can't believe you don't feel like that adds value.
So not what I thought you were going to say, but I love it.
I'm uninstalling it as we speak.
I'm going to be in your support crew there, Susie. I'm going to say, get that off your phone. And now that you've done that, I love that you can laugh about it, because we know how silly some of these apps are. They add no value to our life whatsoever. So the next part is really around looking at technology to see how it can help you. Okay, so you've scaled back. There are apps that you can, which is a bit ironic. People are like, what? You get more apps to help you use less apps. But what they can do is they can actually start to remind you. So if you've been on an app for a certain length of time, it'll remind you to get off if you set it at, say, 20 minutes or half an hour. So, if you don't have somebody sitting next to you, sometimes your phone can also be your friend. It doesn't always have to be your foe. It can remind you, hey, it's time for you to get off and go and have a walk. And they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool ones. Some of them are frustrating because you actually can't ever get back on until your time limit's up. It might say after 2 hours, don't start back up. But just have a look at them. There's plenty out there where you can actually have your phone tell you it's time to get off it.
That's got to be such a great tool for parents as well.
Yes, and look, this addiction we're seeing in ourselves as adults, but also, unfortunately, this digital native era, we're seeing it with kids, and actual behavioural outbursts when you take technology away from a child or their devices away, you see a behavioural outburst, and it's like they can't function without having their device in front of them. Yeah. And if you're seeing that in your children, it is time immediately to get on to putting some of these strategies in place.
All right, our fifth and final, Angela.
Look, the fifth and final one is just to stick at it, is just to realise that your phone is meant to make your life easier, not to have it overwhelm you. So just take it day by day. Go, today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to give myself, half an hour less or 15 minutes less. Or if you want to do it, you just go, today I'm going to go technology free. So it might be Sunday. And there's a lot of different movements that are around this at the moment, with digital detox Saturdays or device free Sundays. Whatever works for you, do that. But also be kind to yourself and just realise you're not going to get it perfect straight away. find that healthy medium for you and just stick with it. And before you know it, you realise that your phone doesn't control you.
The 5 steps from Angela Lockwood, the author of Switch Off, about dealing with technology addiction. 1, acknowledge it. 2, have a support crew to help you divert. 3, scale back based on which apps you can remove, such as Bubblebot. Number 4, get apps to remind you that set time limits on the use of your phone. And number 5, no matter how you go, stick at it. Angela Lockwood, you are a legend. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. To find more ways to slow down and simplify your life, follow the Your Life podcast on Spotify and iTunes. And let's connect on LinkedIn and Instagram. Just look for Angela Lockwood. Don't forget, it's your life. You choose how to live it.